No vídeo de hoje, nós começamos com uma tabela de hidratação. Será que eu estou hidratado? Procure urinar claro, pelo menos 10 vezes por dia. Coma uma dieta rica em frutas e vegetais frescos. Beba 1 litro de água antes das refeições. Obrigada.
So we got a question: why does the raw food diet make people so weak and frail? Well, the question was based on how ATM ended up in hospital, tried to do orange juice fast and almost died, ended up in hospital, saved his life with antibiotics, etc. That's a good thing. If you're really sick, it's probably best to go to the hospital, get a drip, get some antibiotics, whatever you need. I would say the raw food diet is fantastic. I'm a big advocate of it. Our website, 30bananasaday.com, biggest raw food site ever, most popular, most active raw food site, vegan site ever in the history of internet. We are big pushers of raw foods, fruits, veggies, fruits. The problem is when people with eating disorders come into the raw food lifestyle and they bring those eating disorders with them, alright? That's the problem. So raw foods is fantastic when people get like orthorexic, anorexic, I can't eat too much, got to be like spiritual, all this bullshit. Eating disorders, I don't need much because I'm spiritual. It's just another way of saying I've got an eating disorder, but I'm spiritual. No, you got a fucking eating disorder. Get some help. Eat something, eat more. Get 3,000 calories plus a day. Start eating. An orangutan in the zoo weighs less than you and eats more than you. Doesn't have a job, doesn't have to worry about money, just eats and climbs the ropes around. Alright, so you need to eat a lot of food. Eat! Don't feel guilty for eating. Eat! So that's the problem, is when people bring anorexia or whatever, the eating disorders, raw foods, and they undereat and then they fuck up. But we do see people doing raw food and eating a lot and getting strong and getting strength and having energy. People say, I've got heaps of energy, but they couldn't do 2 weeks talks at Woodstock Fruit Festival. Even though they got paid good money to do it. It's like, if you can't answer basic questions about fruits and vegetables for 2 weeks, hey, what's your favourite fruit? Or you got any tips about raw food? What's your favourite smoothie? My friends think raw food diet's crazy. What should I say to them? What about protein? How many carbohydrates do you eat? Simple fucking questions. If that drains you, answering those questions, there's something wrong. There's something fucking wrong, man. I did the Thai Fruit Festival this year. Rode my bike up the mountain every morning, answering questions from 7 a.m. till 9 p.m. every day. Same questions. Felt energized, felt fine. Lost my voice a little bit after a couple of days when it came back. So it's the difference between me and other people is that I eat. I don't have an eating disorder. Might look like I got one, but I don't have one. I carb the fuck up, so I've got energy to give. So when I'm giving, it's not draining on me because I've got enough sleep. Well, not that the Thai Fruit Festival didn't, but in general I do. Always got enough carbohydrates. I always eat enough, and I always drink enough. So have the energy to give, because if you're trying to give to people and you're not giving to yourself, your immune system gets crashed, gets smashed, and that's what happened with ATM going in the hospital. And I was almost karma because he had to pay out of his own pocket because he didn't have insurance. So raw food diet doesn't make people weak and frail. Eating disorders make people weak and frail. The raw food lifestyle is fantastic. High carb fruits, and have a backup plan. A lot of people try and do raw foods and they do the 100% or nothing approach. But I'll tell you what, I can't think of any raw food guru out there today that eats 100% raw food diet that I would put money on. I can't think of anyone. Mostly raw, yeah, for sure, but I can't think of anyone who's 100% raw food diet. What they eat in private rarely gets made in public. But I've spent time with many people, and I'll tell you what, I wouldn't put money on anyone. If let's say there was like a Harvard University said, we've got a study that can show if anybody's eating any food that's been heated over a certain temperature during a rider, would you be willing to put money on it that these people are 100% raw? And we'll give you $10 million as a prize. But otherwise you lose $100,000 or whatever. I'm like, I wouldn't put the money on there. I wouldn't put money on anyone. Alright? So that's what I'm talking about. So none of these people eat 100% raw food diet. So you shouldn't feel guilty if you can't eat 100% raw food diet. Alright? Eat 100% vegan diet. You can do that, except for swallowing flies and microscopic bacteria. But you know what I'm talking about. So people are beating themselves up or doing crazy $5,000 retreats on how to peel bananas for a week, or just craziness, right? So eat lots of fruits, Have a backup plan. Starches, sweet potatoes, tinned fruit, fruit juice. It might not be raw, but I'll tell you what, none of those fucking raw gurus are raw either. Doesn't make it bad people, but it's a bad concept saying you have to eat 100% raw food diet or we failure. You know, it's bullshit, but none of them do it themselves. So, raw food diet is fantastic. High carb, calorie sufficient, early nights, water raw foods diet is sufficient, is good, is excellent. Look at Jeanette and Alan. They ran around Australia last year. They don't calorie restrict or fucking worry about, you know, eating too much food or whatever. They're just like chowing down. Let's get the fucking job done. 64 and 68 roundabouts, running a marathon every day. And then you got raw food gurus do 2 weeks talks answering basic questions, and they break down and end up in hospital almost dying. Can you imagine? Jeanette and Alan running raw around Australia, 366 marathons a day. I ran one marathon with them last year in November, and they're not getting in the hospital. And then you have ATM, etc. Oh my god, I had to answer questions for 2 weeks at a fruit festival and my immune system broke down. And then they blame it on like, oh, I did drugs 20 years ago and it was in my brain, it's just coming. No, it wasn't, because if it was, you wouldn't have died unless you went to hospital. ATM would have died unless you went to hospital. His body was shutting down, breaking down, immune system crashing from abusing his own health. So I'm not hating on Dan, just pointing it out there that sometimes medical intervention is a good idea. I've known many people, raw food gurus, raw food people who needed to go to hospital, and it's a good thing they went to hospital, otherwise they would have died. All right? Just like Lee at the fasting clinic at Doug Graham's fasting retreat in Costa Rica, he said, don't go to the hospital. But her mum was a nurse and knew fucking better, so thankfully her mother had some rational thought, and they took Lee to hospital, 5-hour taxi ride, 5-hour taxi ride. Lee had to get a blood transfusion from mother and a Costa Rican lady. And, you know, can you imagine being in the waiting room? Hey, I just got a bit of a weird question. I just did a water fast with Doug Graham, almost about to die. Do you think I could have a pint of blood? Because my hemoglobin's like 60. Fuck. So hospitals can definitely help in these emergency acute situations if you have a car accident, etc. Obviously diet and lifestyle, we can treat that with diet and lifestyle, but then you have people treating diet and lifestyle issues with diet and lifestyle and still fucking up because they're under eating, or they're not drinking enough water, they're not getting enough sleep. Alright, does that make sense? So you can eat a pure diet, but if you're not getting enough calories, if you're not getting enough water, you're gonna fuck up. Simple as that. So enjoy your fruits. We do. Eat as much as you want. Anyone who says don't eat bananas and dates, too much calories, wouldn't have a fucking clue. Maybe sincere, but 100% sincerely wrong.